Thank you, Eric. All right, thank you, Jody. We'll call the meeting to order. I don't know if you've had a chance to review the minutes. I sent them in the email, a copy of them. I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Chris, you want to brief us on our latest numbers?
Yeah, not much has changed for the month of January. We didn't have too many expenditures, just caught the rest of the property tax. For those that are not going to get behind, there'll be a few that are going to get behind, but I know we're going to try and get out a little bit early, but there really wasn't much of a change between December and January. Typical payroll, that kind of stuff. If you want me to, I can go more in depth if you want me to.
Well, how are we doing? Are we like ahead? Like, are we overspending, underspending? Where are we at?
We are way overspent. That Ted guy is just spinning us into a hole right now.
Yeah.
So
I know whose fault that is.
Yeah. We're so far under budget, Janet. That's going to take me the rest of the year to spending lots of money to make up for it.
No.
we are significantly under budget just because we haven't done any of the roads.
What did I
and
tell
those
you?
kind of Things.
See?
Yeah, Ted, you owe me that hamburger. I'm just pulling it up now.
We're supposed to tell her that.
Some items were over, some items were under, but for the most part, we're under because of the several $100,000 that were not in the roads department. Up here in the revenue, so 58.33% of the year has passed. We've collected about 68% of our revenues. There's some outliers like Woodland Hills Day brought in some more money than was budgeted and those kind of things. As far as expenses, we're pretty much down the line. Public safety is going to be high just because we have from July to December, our fire guys that go out on those wildland fires spend more of the money, and then it calms down in January, February, March. Except this year, January was busy because they went out to Pacific Palisades. But you can see in the roads, we're only at 21%. And that's the bulk of our money going to be spent this year, 1.3, almost $1.4 million. Parks is right on track. And let's jump over to, I'm going to skip the first capital project, the second capital project, which is fires, the third capital project, which is EMS, fourth capital project, which is saving for snowplow truck, and which we might want to talk about some point in the future. I don't know if we really need to keep saving for snowplow trucks because leasing seems to be a good way to go. The road projects, I do want to talk about capital projects in the roads. We had the bill come through for Loafer Drive, and it came under. How much, Ted, did it come under? About
Well, so you mean under the engineer's estimate or under their original cost?
I'm just trying to give you that bone here, buddy.
Yeah. So originally we'd estimated this project to be like $500,000, and it ended up costing us $319,000, which is even a little less than the original bid was. They ended up not spending quite as much doing the work by about $10,000 or so. So we've been able to save some money there.
There's a little bit of retainage going on, so that's why the whole 319 is not on here, but 303 has been extended. Haven't been on that road yet, but I hear it's fun and nice. And then I'm going to jump capital projects for park trails, and let's go into water. Water is interesting. We had to raise water rates because of the bond that we got to replace water lines. We're at, once again, 58.33% of the year, and we've collected 72% of our budget. So it's going to be interesting to go through June this year and see how it goes. I'm wondering, Ted, if they maybe overshot a little bit on their estimates that they wanted us to raise water rates too, which in one sense is good if we want to go see if we can apply for a loan to finish Maple Drive and not have to raise the rates.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep an eye on that and just see how that goes. This non-operating income really deals with impact fees. So we don't really pay too much attention because it comes in and just either sits in the savings account for a future tank or goes to make water payment or payments back on our
Chris,
tank that the city put in.
Chris, does the finance committee understand why we had to raise? Do they know that when we had to raise the rates? Like,
I was involved highly.
Yeah,
oh,
we talked about it in a prior meeting.
okay, I just wanted to make sure.
We've got
No,
all
good
this-
question.
everything on that through Rural Water of Utah.
Yeah.
And did it.
That guy was very nice to come present to us. It was a good presentation.
They did a great job on that.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So that's kind of a high level where we are with the finances. So yeah, we're doing okay. There are some things that the mayor is starting to consider shifting around. Now within each category, he can, I'm going to not summarize it this time. I'm going to give you the full version. By his own authority, he can move, excuse me, by state's authority, he can move certain line items around. And this can be one of Ted's things that he's going to update us on. But we did go out and make a purchase of that service truck for the cul-de-sac plows. There was basically one truck left in the state. It had the right equipment on that we needed, not too much, not too little. So we went ahead and the mayor authorized to grab that, but we needed a new plow on there also. But since we're lower in our salt usage this year, we've considered taking some of the salt money to help offset the $9,000 for the plow. Let me just get down there, for example. So salt, we're at 19,000 this year. They just spent another 13,000 on salt. So we have a little bit left there, but we also have some of what's called the capital projects, capital outlay, excuse me, for that plow too. So within these budgets, so within the 44, anything that starts with the 44, the mayor can freely move around. He doesn't like to do that without the council knowing. So this will be a discussion next council meeting about moving some of this money around.
That middle column, the annual.
It's the budget.
So we,
That's
that
what-
was
Okay.
$1,000 a year on salt. We've currently only spent, what is it, 25 between the two?
Yeah, so they just spent another 13. That bill hasn't come in yet.
Well, but sometimes we use more in the spring than we do in the winter. So, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and there was a
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
no, actually, there's a new sheriff in town that understands salt density in water, and it's okay to go ahead and have salt shipped to us in the middle of the winter and stockpile it all up in August.
Yeah. And and it confirmed with our salt group that we should have enough now to get us through the rest of the year without having to buy any more salt.
Great.
Because I remember a couple winters ago, maybe 3, we were buying and then buying more, and we kind of were burning through it pretty fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these new trucks are pretty efficient too. They spread it pretty good.
That's good.
I have a question on the fiber installs, 9,500.
Yeah, those are new people, new home builds.
New,
Offsetting revenue that comes in for that.
Yes, yeah, there's revenue.
Impact fees?
We didn't do impact fee. We just did a service fee.
so is this for fiber into new areas or? new homes?
Yeah, so we brought in 12,000 of the 9,500 spent. It's, you know, if somebody built in the old part of the neighborhood, they still have to pay 1,500. If they built in Summit Creek, they have their own fiber down there with Centricom. So mainly it's within the city and Thousand Oaks area.
And are we still financing that for individuals, or do they have to pay it all in a lump sum?
They have to pay it all in a lump sum now.
It was just that first initial round that we let people finance if they wanted.
Yeah, and I believe last year was the last year that everybody made their final payments to us, and nobody defaulted. Everybody paid. It was super easy. City made a little money off it, and everybody got their fiber installed.
Well, the city put little liens on everybody's property.
Ah, good for Jody.
Say that again?
The city put little liens on everybody's property that took out a loan,
Oh, did they?
and then they released them when the loans were paid off. Because I did it just because at the time it was easier. But the county has this thing called Property Watch where you can sign up for it, and they will tell you if there's any activity on your property. And so when the city released it, I got a notification from the county. And then I went and looked, and I was like, oh, they did put a lien on it. So I went and looked to see what it was.
So Ted, I just saw your email that you have a meeting at 7:30.
Yeah, we need to move it. Sorry.
Is there anything you need to bring up before this meeting? I mean, before you have to depart this meeting?
Not unless you guys have questions for me on financing, unless I don't know, Chris, did we have anything else besides, we talked about the snow plow we're buying with the salt budget or the capital budget.
Yeah.
That's to go on the new service truck.
Yeah. Was there anything on the backup generator we're going to talk about today? I see that's number 9, but I don't know if we're ready for anything with the backup generator.
Yeah, I haven't got it. So I reached out to Alan Wakefield, because he was the one that originally designed the city system to take backup generator. He's going to help me put together a cost. So we're working on getting kind of a cost to maybe if we want to include it in next year's budget to put in a backup generator. So
Okay.
stay tuned. We're working on that one. Hopefully we'll have it here in the next few weeks.
Then the other thing is, it is budget time. You do have the largest pot of money that you have to deal with within the city. If you can think about if we're going to carry any over of your revenues this year, plus any new projects next year for the finance committee to review that, then we take to council. I think those are some of the hot items.
Yeah, maybe just along those lines. One of the things we'll probably be looking at, I'd mentioned it this morning in our staff meeting, thinking about maybe there's a way that, because in order to do the water line projects we need, we either have to find a large chunk of money, meaning millions, in loan or grant money, and maybe with this water rate increase we did, if we have a little wiggle room, we can maybe take a little bit larger loan. But in the meantime, trying to find a way to maybe budget some of our capital to take on some small stuff in the interim to be able to take care of some of our more emergent needs in the water system. Replace some sections of water line that we can, upgrade some of our PRVs that are failing. I've been working in our water system this last, year since I've been here, and the more I dig into it, the more needs I'm finding and emergency type need stuff that it's working fine for now, but if something goes wrong, it could be a lot harder to fix later than try and tackle it before it breaks, so to speak.
Would you bring them up to speed on Salem's well or shared well?
Oh, yeah. And yeah, that's a good point. So we, as you guys may know, we share a well with Salem City, Maple Canyon well. We have 40% ownership in it. They have been getting lots of cloudy water in that well. We haven't had it in our system since I used it back in the middle of the summer when we had to take our well down to fix our motor. But since the middle of summer, we haven't been using it, but they have, and the water's gotten really cloudy. They weren't sure why, so they took it down, had a company come in and camera the well, and they found that it has multiple holes in the casing. So the casing of that well is gonna have to be repaired, and we're gonna be responsible for 40% of the cost of the repair of that well. Don't know what that looks like yet by way of cost. They're still trying to figure out what's the best way to fix it. There are different options out there. You can basically drop some repair pieces down there and tack them on the well casing. You can sleeve them, or you can replace the entire casing. So they have got a consulting engineer right now that's kind of helping them figure out what's the best way to repair this well. And when they figure out what the best method is, then they'll get back to us. And 40% of that cost is what we're going to have to come up with. So I'm going to have to push back my helicopter for one more year.
Not sure how you would patch a well casing.
They've got what they call swaging. It's a method called swaging, and they can basically take pieces of casing and they can stick it down in there and basically attach it to the side of the well, plug the hole, so to speak, with a new piece of casing. They call it swaging. Or you can shove an entire new casing down inside the old casing, is also a method. Or you pull out the old casing and put a new one in. Those are some of the ways of fixing it. It all kind of depends, because as you start patching and as you start putting one casing inside of another, you're losing internal diameter on the well casing, which can then affect your pump. So they're trying to figure out what the best method for this well is.
Okay, we'll let the professionals come back to us on that.
Yeah.
Any discussion? You brought up the service truck, the fire brush truck. Any discussions on those two items before Ted goes?
Yeah, yeah, good point. So I think the service truck is, you might know, we've actually taken, we've got the service truck, it's been delivered to us. We're right now in the process of um, basically building it. They deliver the chassis, and then we put on the service bed and some of the other equipment we need on it to be a service truck. So we're right now working on equipping the service truck, but we've taken delivery of it. Hopefully in the next 3 weeks, it'll be operational. And then for the brush truck, I think in talking with our engine boss, we may want to just kind of put this one on the back burner for a year. He's made some changes in his life. He's going to be working for us this year, but this is the last guaranteed year. We won't know until part of the way through this year if he's going to come back the year after. He's moved, basically, is what it is, and he's no longer really close. You know, he's no longer very close to the city, so it's quite a commute for him to get here now. And he promised us this year, but so what I'm thinking is until we get that position solidified and figure out what's going on, that we not invest in a new brush truck right now and wait to figure out what happens there.
His wife has a job up north. Isn't that why he's moving?
Yeah, she went to work for the at the church headquarters, so they moved up north, and it's a couple hour commute for him to get here now. Hour and a half.
So Chris mentioned fiscal budget coming up. That'll be our 2025 to 2026 budget. We need to get those numbers in, Ted, and so we'd have to get numbers from Jody, from you, Ted, and who else? That's it, isn't it, right now?
Yeah, Jody we talked about this in staff meeting this morning, yesterday morning, whatever day it was, this morning. And
On Utah.
yeah, last year, Jody and Lori did a really good job on putting some budgets together, but they didn't need to spend the time doing that because some of it's like utilities that we just know are going to carry over with a small rate increase, hopefully a small rate increase, and some of those kind of things. So, but they may have some office needs. Maybe they want a new desk. I don't know. But they're prepared to talk to you or give you guys information.
Okay.
Maybe Mike, just one other update as I don't know if we talked about this. We sold some of our city equipment, things that we didn't use or need anymore. I think somewhere around 20,000 is what that brought in.
20,000 on what, Ted, again? I'm sorry.
Old equipment we sold.
Old equipment we sold, our old street sweeper, conveyor belt that we don't use, and some steel plates that have just been stacked forever, and just some things that we don't need anymore and or need to replace. So we ended up selling a bunch of stuff, and I think brought in somewhere around 20,000.
Okay. So I know there's been discussion on paving the road going up to the water tank. Is that going to happen this year?
This spring. So they got started on it last year. The council approved it last fall, and well, it got approved as part of the well project for that contractor. It was very expensive through that contractor, so we kind of pulled it from his contractor, went out, reached out to another contractor, saved us about $250,000 or something like that, 200,000 to go with someone different. They actually started on it last year and put all the road base down, but it was just too late in the year to pave. So they'll come back this spring when the temperatures are there and the snow's melted, grade it out, recompact it, and then pave it. And it's probably not bad that it sat over the winter. That gives it more time for that road base to compact they put down. But they leveled it out, they graded it out, put all the road base down. So it's just needs to work that up a little bit and then pave it this spring.
You're not going to need your snow machine anymore.
Yeah, the four-wheeler with tracks.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, that makes for a tough service vehicle when you have to get to the well during the winter. It's hard to carry a lot of tools on that thing. So this will be nice. And part of the reason for that snowblower we got was to use that because likely the plow trucks will have a difficult time plowing that. But we got that snowblower that we bought as an attachment to that new loader that will be really slick to go up there and just blow that pavement, keep it clear for us during the winter.
That was my next question. So we did get the snow blower.
Yes, we
Okay,
got the snow blower and it'll be great to use up there. So right now he's been going up with the loader and just using the bucket to kind of push the snow away to keep it from getting so deep. But it'll be nice to be able to blow
I just said nobody says no to Ted. He gets what he needs,
it.
except for me.
Yeah, you try to say no, but I don't know. I win you over all the
I know,
time.
I vote yes, I know.
I told you I'm working on being a net zero, but we have like I mentioned our staff meeting, our needs in the city are much greater than our budgets. So it's not a matter of finding places to spend the money, it's just prioritizing it.
one thing we could invest in is maybe a magic wand.
Yeah, or a money tree.
Could plant money trees around the city.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Had one, it died.
Hmm.
You know, it died about the same time my money died. Maybe I need a new one.
Will paving that road up to the well, do you anticipate that will draw more interest of people driving all the way up rather than parking down at the cul-de-sac, Deep Forest?
yes, and that's the reason why we included it in M16 sitting up in the trees that no one knows about. And we're going to dare them to try now. So part of the project includes a gate at the bottom. So we're putting in with the well project a gate right there that'll have a lock on it. So only city people will be able to get up there that have a key. And we're putting a little 55 inch or 50-inch post or a post in with a 55-inch gap between the gate and the post, so you can still get hikers can still get up there, an ATV can still get up there. So those will still have access because they're allowed to be there, but vehicles won't.
Yeah, that's in compliance with the trail because we have other bollards right before the trail. You can't be more than 50 inches wide because the trail is so narrow that it's not safe. You know, you get some of these bigger side by signs up there and it's pretty dangerous.
I once encountered an F-150 on the switchbacks.
I know. I
Well,
know.
yeah, but did you see how well I was driving on it?
Yeah.
So now, I mean, Sherry Berger spearheaded, but we have bollards that are only 50 inches apart, so they're only a small side
So
by
that
side.
Your smaller units can
Mhm.
go up.
Who
Just
needs an M16 when you've got Sherry Berger patrolling it and just yelling?
Yeah, true.
Sherry takes care of that, right? Okay.
I've cautioned her about that now that she's alone. I've told her she needs to be a little more cautious.
He usually calls me, so
Does she?
a lot. Okay, well then, let's get into the review of salary, health and benefits and city provides to employees compared with other local governments. Aaron, did you have a chance to meet?
Yeah, so Chris, Jody, Lori, and I met with, can't remember their names.
Miller Wade.
Yeah, with Miller Wade Group, but what was the guy's name that actually presented to us?
I think it's Jeff Pierce.
He was informative, but in my opinion, not very helpful. Like there was a lot of stuff that I felt like he didn't have that he should have had and that he promised he would get us after. And I've not received anything since then. I don't know if he sent it directly to you, Chris, or to Jody.
No.
But we haven't seen any follow-up from it. So I'm pretty disappointed in them as a benefits consultant.
Yeah.
But I've only dealt with them this once. You guys as a city have been dealing with them for years. Maybe you have better perspective, but I wasn't.
No, I was sending you a text during the meeting. He was going down so many rabbit holes. I was kind of sad. But I think, Janet, didn't you say you had somebody?
Yeah, Adrian, and I had an email from him and I thought I forwarded it. He does, and I mean, we could probably, he sent me some stuff, so let me find it. I looked in my work email and I didn't see.
The interesting thing was, though, to kind of sum it all up, is everything's expensive but select help. And that's basically what I got out of the whole conversation.
Well, and Adrian said he told me that he could just because he's an independent, he can pull it from anybody's. Like he can pull and see what, and he sent me like a comparison of all of them. And I thought I forwarded it on, but now I'm looking for it.
Adrian is a different consultant broker.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
Chris,
he's an
Chris,
independent.
is there different companies that service like cities?
Yeah, so he had United Healthcare quotes, Select Health, Blue Cross, Regents, one I'd never heard of before. And they have Cigna or Aetna or somebody like that.
The real question is, and I've asked this as we just recently switched the consultant that does the benefits for our company. And we asked him, if we switch consultants, are we going to get different rates from the same carriers? Select Health going to give one broker a different rate than the other? And they say no. Even the one that was the new broker said, I'm not going to get you any better rates than what your old broker got you. Select Health is not going to be playing favorites with one broker versus another. They just quote it based on your.
And that's basically what Adrian told me. He said you go with whoever and then you just have to look at the different companies. They're all just on a website, right? They're all just available where you can pull everything. And that's what he had sent me. So he was just saying,
I think we just get the best for the buck that we can get, in terms of what the benefits would be, and that's what we'd have to go with. Now, I did meet with Mona City. Mona City provides no benefits. They stipend their employees $400 a month. They provide no benefits.
But only $400 in order to purchase benefits?
Oh.
They stipend them $400 a month. They buy their own benefits. They provide no benefits.
Do they have considerably higher compensation to make up for the lack of benefits?
They don't.
wow, that's like nothing.
Got all their compensation here.
That one didn't cover a single rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, their compensations and their retirement, they provide no retirement other than state retirement. That's their
Is that
retirement.
what most of the cities do though, is the state retirement plan?
Yeah, and it's about 19 to 21% this year. So it's pretty hefty.
21% employer.
State law dictates it's not that the employees get 21%. That's just because it goes into the pension at that price. Now that's tier one. There's tier two for anybody that started with the city or any city after 1996. And that's on a floating that went up to like 13% this year. But the employee has to kick in more to a 401k and those kind of things. So state taking measures to mitigate it, but older employees that are on tier one, I think it's 19.52% or somewhere right around there.
That's huge.
Yeah, well, state retirement, right?
They
And the
really
state's not in debt.
pay there. That's their public works director, 75,000 annually. Their recreation person, 1,400 a month. Their planning and zoning secretary gets 1980 an hour. Their secretary, 3,400 a month. And their finance director gets 2,200 a month. Of course, it's all public information. You can go get it.
How many are they all working full-time, part-time?
That's a good question, Chris. I didn't get all of that. If they were, I know the public works director is full-time. The finance director, I think, is full-time too, but I'm not sure. What do
Well, you got to fire your finance director and hire that guy. That's way cheaper.
So
I
the
think
one
never
thing
to apply a Mona.
the consultant with us, because they don't work with brokers, is PEHP numbers. And I can't remember if Mike or Tim was going to reach out to PEHP.
Yeah, I reached out to PHP and they said that they wouldn't give me a price, but because they underwrite every plan regardless of the size of the group. And they asking us for information. They want a copy of our current plan design, our most recent invoice, a member level census, so name, date of birth, gender, zip code for each person covered, and our most recent renewal quote. And if we'll email that to them, and I've got an email address that I sent to Mike in this document I put together, then they will quote what they would underwrite it for. I asked her if she'd give me an estimate and she really wouldn't unless, unless we send that stuff in.
Fair enough.
Okay, so the stuff you just said, that's an email. If somebody can get it to me, then I can start gathering those docs.
I can get it to you, Chris.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Tim, you said too, Elk Ridge City is on the PH.
They are. Elk Ridge City is on the PE, Public Employee
HP.
Health Plan, PEHP. And they pay about $1,600 per family.
Hmm.
And the city pays 100% of that.
Oh,
And what does that mean that they are grandfathered in?
I'm not sure exactly what that meant. The fellow I talked to said he just directed me to their website for their salary information, said it was public information and we could pull it, but I couldn't find it. So I looked for it, but I couldn't find it. But anyway, he said that their health plan was grandfathered in. And I said, does that give you a lower cost than we would get? And he said, I'm not sure. They just tell us we're grandfathered. What I think it is, there was some grandfathering that took place 2 or 3 years ago that, and I'm not sure. I remember when we renewed our plan at my office, we were grandfathered in, but now I don't remember what the items were that remain in our plan that isn't available in the newer plans. So I'm sorry about that, but I just don't remember what that was. And he didn't know what it meant either, only that they were grandfathered.
And Tim, you said here the city pays 100% of their premiums.
Yes, the city pays 100% of their premium.
Well,
Chat
1,600,
GPT said grandfathered in for PHP was they are able to be on an older plan that they don't offer anymore.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. He didn't know that. So, and I don't know if that would make the cost more or less or whatever by them being grandfathered in.
Our city.
we've got 3 employees on their plan, on our plans, and they are currently, although this is increasing, we're paying 2,900, 1,800, and 1,700 per month. No, 1,900. 1,800, 1,900, 3,000.
So is something different? They're like some family plan and.
So all of them are family plans. It's husband, wife, and kids. 2 of them just have a single child, and then Chris has multiple kids. The one thing that we did find out that was interesting is for every child on the plan that's 21 or older, there's an additional $250 per member per month. So that is one of the reasons why Chris's plan is more expensive than the others, because with Ted and what's the other person? Toby, they let's see here. Toby's got a 21-year-old, but Ted's is 18. So anyway,
I found Adrian's email. It's more, isn't it? It's more though, Chris, because you live in Hawaii, right? Isn't the rate higher or something? Is it location? Did that change it? And you said no, it didn't.
no,
No, they utilize the United Healthcare Network out of state.
Okay. So Adrian said he can help with any group plan through Select Health. So any other options you have seen from the same as any other offers you've seen from other brokers. He said the difference and what sets me apart is that I can also access the United Healthcare private options. We can include those for those that qualify through a health underwritten application. And then he attached a couple of quotes. So
we talked about a lot
I'm
of
gonna
other
forward this.
options that could be done, like completely changing the structure of the benefits to give us some more options. But we had to do some extra work and get some plan documents, and he just never sent us any follow-up for that information. And given that the timing of it, we definitely don't have time to enact all that.
How does that compare? Can see, it says max
When does it due,
3,000.
Chris? When is the plan?
You know the most about these.
I think open enrollment is March 1st and it's due April, or let me just double check here.
I can forward that to everybody really quick.
So this is significantly cheaper, that's for sure. The question is looking at benefits to make sure that they zero deductible.
April 1st, Mike.
Okay. We
Here,
gotta
let
be-
me,
we gotta be moving on
let's
that.
do this real quick. Let me forward this email really quick to everybody. And everybody can open it, and, because I thought I had forwarded it previously, so I'm sorry.
So
So,
has the city looked at the PEHP program?
We did 15 years, 20 years ago, and PHP was the most expensive in the state at that time. And they knew it, and they've come down, supposedly they've come down significantly since then. But what Tim is saying, if we can get at least some census information to them, maybe we can get a decent quote from them.
Yeah, they'll give us a quote. And I think it's worth just the information to put that together. It's not a lot of information to gather.
No, we have it all anyways, pretty much at our fingertips.
Yeah. I did a little bit of research on PEHP because I was not real familiar with them. And the state legislature mandated that they become more competitive in 1998, I believe, and again in 2014.
Yeah.
So they put some pressure on them. It's a state-run program, and so they just mandated that they find ways to be more competitive. So I don't, it ought to be a little more competitive. Still might be the highest in the state. I don't know.
Sounds like you have to go to a HCA facility.
Yes, that's what the Elk Ridge people have to do. They're required to use an HCA facility. So the Select Health or the, what's that? I can't remember the names of the hospitals, but that are run by Select Health.
IHC.
IHC, thank you. So they're only available in the case of an emergency.
Not standard, but Ted says he would prefer Mountain View Hospital, and Chris is, although, actually, as we thought about it, although Chris is in Hawaii, Chris receives his primary care when he's in Utah, and when he's in Utah, he's in St. George, where they only have Intermountain facilities. So for Chris, it would be better for him to have access to the Intermountain network, and Toby also prefers the Intermountain.
Yeah, and what that part I said about the HCA, that's Elk Ridge's plan. I think I saw on the website for PEHP that they have an Select Health option.
We need to, I think we need, as a city, need to look at that. I would recommend that to, I would recommend that to the council.
Yeah, so if Chris and Tim can work together to get the information that PHP is requesting, then we can get that quoted.
Did you get my email, Chris?
Checking right now. Let's see. Yes.
So the bottom part of that, there's an email address for January. That's the name of the woman I talked to. And if we'll email that to her, she'll get that back to us. I told her we were on a tight deadline.
Okay.
Her
She
name,
didn't change her name to February, did she?
Not that she told me.
Okay, just checking.
Gertson.
Yeah, okay. I see. I'll gather this information.
Office just recently. His name was January.
Never seen that name before. January.
Of April, but not January.
Okay, is there any other discussion on that part of our meeting? Not, we're gonna wrap things up here. Everybody can.
do you want me to get back with Adrian? Or you want me to connect him with you? You know more what to ask.
I'd be happy to talk with Adrian. Did you send him the current?
I sent him the stuff and he looked at it and I said, is that all that you need? And he says, no, that's really good. That will help me a lot. And so that was the quote that he gave me.
Yeah, not significantly less.
Okay. So I'll connect. So who wants to, I just don't, I'm just kind of the middleman. You want to
Well,
talk to him? Do you have
If
time?
Aaron would, I'd appreciate it. Aaron knows more about it than I do.
Okay.
I'm happy to. I'm out of town the rest of this week. Next week.
Would you do that, Aaron?
Sure.
Thank you. Tim, thank you for getting a hold of your people there. And if you and Chris would get together, explore it called again? The PEH.
PHP.
Public,
Yeah,
public employee health plan.
Hey, Tim, do you want me to just put an email together and I'll CC you on it and just send it back to January, or do you
yeah,
want to send
I
it
think
through?
that's good, Chris. Yeah, just do that.
Okay.
Thank you for your.
I'm gonna send this to Chris and Jody too, so they can look at it.
Okay.
Sorry, give me more information on their
See you,
health
Ted.
offer.
Thanks, Ted.
Okay,
I'm forwarding this email to everybody, so I'll get it, everybody will get it from me before I
Okay.
leave.
there's no public comment tonight. When would we like to have our next meeting?
I think it's already pre-scheduled. Let me get the calendar out here. So Jody could keep everybody straight. Our next one is slated to be on. March 19th. Let me just double check.
What meeting are you talking about, Chris?
Finance.
Our next one, Jody was trying to, there were so many parking trails and us and planning commission. So she
Yeah.
went through and made a schedule and just assigned us, I think it's the third Wednesday of every month,
Okay,
whether we want to meet or not. But let me
So-
just,
But the thing is if you're wanting to make any action on these benefits for this coming year, you're gonna have to do it before then.
Yeah.
'Cause you're gonna be
March 12th is the next one she has on the calendar. Looks like there's room on March 5th, March 6th, March 7th, March 3rd, Wednesday, February 26th, and February 27th and 28th appear to be open also.
could we do on the, because of the benefits, should we meet here in a couple of weeks on March 5th, wrap this up?
That would be wise.
March 5th, then we will schedule our next meeting.
7 again, Mike?
Yeah, if that works for you, does it work, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, 7:00 then.
It was Ash Wednesday. I don't know.
Does that work, Chris?
Yeah, that's fine.
March 5th, 7:00.
March 5th.
Yeah. Are you,
Our main concentration will be on these benefits.
Okay, so
Will high school basketball be done by then?
yeah, it ends next week. First round is tonight. We have a bye. I'll have to miss city council next Tuesday. It's the quarterfinals.
mm,
Unless we lose and we're not in them, then I'll be there and I'll be mad that I'm there.
All right. I'll call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So motion.
All in
Sounds
favor?
good.
Aye.
Aye. Take care of Missouri for us back there, Tim.
Okay, yeah, I will.
Had 'em
good
on-
seeing you guys.
We'll try and stay warm.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see ya.
I wasn't, and I'm still not, for some reason, I'm not on the Wi-Fi. I should be here. But so it like wasn't wanting to send them and it wasn't letting me search. You know? Yeah, it just was really slow. I was struggling, but it's because for some reason my cell service here isn't great and I wasn't on the Wi-Fi.